And we are live. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Holy Crap, the Vlogcast. A vlogcast that comes from a skeptical point of view to answer some of the questions of why. This vlogcast started as a combination of spite and the Streisand effect because when December rolls around, I get to pull out my Christmas hat. Huh? See, it's... You guys were looking for the blue hat, right? No. Only once during the year do I pull out my red hat. And let me tell you, this Santa Pip hat, I get more compliments on this hat than I actually got. Okay, today was the first day that I got the chance to wear it, and yeah, I did get a compliment on it.
It's definitely a pimp hat, for sure.
It is, and I've been wearing this hat for the Christmas season for a number of years. I love
Yes, you
it.
have.
Yes, I have. Part of this is to follow through with the old adage, sometimes the journey is more important than the destination. I am your main host. I am Pimp Daddy Shujin Tribble. It's good to see you. Where's my... You know what? No, I'll save that for later, because I got stuff.
Well, you've got Elf on a Shelf. And
No.
I guess...
No. I however, did see Mensch on a Bench. Completely different animal.
I saw a Ged on a sled.
Or maybe that hat makes you hoe in a show.
It might very well, but
I saw Scooby on a doobie.
You know what you see on Bicycle Day is your business. It's none of my. Some people actually know what I'm talking about. Thank you, appreciate it.
Try to do something with that with Shujin.
Later.
Oh.
Anyway, so if you want to find out about me, of course, all my information is out there. SHUJIN. Welcome to the show. Those of you that are listening right now and you're wondering what the hell does the hat look like, it looks good. Trust me, it looks good. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Let me go ahead and introduce you to the crew, because that's kind of what you're here for, right? Not exactly for me. Top left-hand corner of the, actually, where you are, Dalan, you would actually be in Cindy Brady's square, I think is where you are. I'm going to go with that. Hi, Dalan.
Hi. I'm just trying to think, okay, do I have a Rudy retort for this? And as he says it, I'm like, yeah, I got nothing.
You got nothing, which is perfect. Look at the bright side. I was thinking of the TV series, not the cartoon series. So for those of you that are wondering, wait, Brady cartoon, what? Yeah, go look that one up. Have fun with that. They met up with Wonder Woman in the past.
What?
Yeah.
That's so wrong.
To be fair.
Too fair.
To be fair.
Look at all the Scooby-Doo shows. Look who all they teamed up with.
That's true.
True.
That's true.
You know, they had...
And the Globetrotters, you know?
Hey, they teamed up with Kiss.
Wait a minute.
Which is proof positive that band will do anything for a buck.
Wait. That was in the 21st century, not in the classic 70s.
Your point?
The only reason they did it is because they needed the money now.
Yeah.
Well, at least they didn't do a Star Wars special.
From the bottom left-hand corner
what?
of the quadrant, whatever. Bottom left-hand corner of our grouping right now from the Midwest of the U.S., Bridget, hi.
Hello.
It's going to be one of those nights, isn't it?
Yes it is.
Mornings.
And from over the pond, joining us on time and actually ahead of schedule, almost to a certain degree. I'll explain why in a second. Joseph, good morning.
Bonjour.
Yeah. Excuse me. So I'm saying a little bit early and such because we're kind of missing Joey, who admittedly with everything else right now is probably asleep, which I would not at all expect any different because he's been working hard, not just for work, but like personal work. So, you know, if he's a little tired, I'm not worried about it. And, oh, right. UnrenownedTech said he was going to be here this week. Maybe
he's time.
Yeah, well, it's entirely possible that he might be getting lucky. I don't know. You know what? I don't know. Whatever it is, I don't, whatever. I don't care. He's
working on his Santa's helper beard.
He could be.
I ain't going to judge.
He could be. But in any case, so hi, everybody. Thank you very much for being with us. Of course, as always, if you are joining us live, over on that side, you will see the live chat. You could have been joining us with that, but no, you were listening after the fact. Unless you're here right now, so thank you. which means tonight, Stephanie, hi, good morning. Felis, good evening. And yeah, it's good to have you guys over here. And Stephanie likes the hat. Chickstick the hat. Now, here's a little something special for everybody. You know that I've been trying different things to drink. I was thinking about having coffee tonight because I've got a minor problem with my furnace. I have a furnace that doesn't always want to stay lit, which is not exactly the biggest problem that you might think it is, because I have a basement that stays cool, but not cold. So even when the blower is blowing, I'm circulating cool air into the house, not cold air. So I don't have to worry about anything freezing. And even though it's chilly, I've also got a fireplace, so I can kind of warm stuff up, but be that as it may. I did,
Well, if the furnace is not going to stay lit, then the host might as well be.
Funny you should say that.
That's a good philosophy, actually.
That's a very good point. So for those of you that might have never seen it before, if you remember Danny Kaye, yes, I have the flagon with the dragon, which will have the brew that is true. It's the vessel with the pestle with the push. The flagon with the dragon has the brew that is true. The vessel with the pestle has the poison with the potion. Close enough. You know what? Anyway, so the reason why I'm pointing this out is that I was looking through the stuff for, beers to try some stuff, and I found something that not only has a legitimate cork, but it comes from Belgium, apparently. I have Guldendraak Classic. I know nothing about this. However, it does say on it, and I told the guys over here, it says high fermentation, secondary fermentation, and then contains 3 times more malt than lager. Does this mean I'm going to like it? I don't know. Truth be told, I have no idea. But I'm willing to try because whatever. The worst that can happen is I don't like it. In which case, it's $15. You know what? If I really don't like it, I'm sure I could put it into the radiator of my car and keep it, nice. I'm glad I wore the brown pants today. Okay, came right off my hand, fortunately. That was, okay, I didn't like that one bit. That was not cool. But at least I've got TTTF. You made it high. So, ooh. Oh. That started bubbling up really fast.
Mm-hmm.
Something tells me this is a little bit too small.
Well, you just take it in portions then.
Well, I mean, I put a little bit in, and it foamed all the way to the top, which was
How
weird.
cold is it?
It's room temperature, really.
That would explain it.
Should it have been chilled?
The beer, definitely.
Well, remember, some should be, some shouldn't be. I don't know one from another, and this one was on a shelf, not in a cooler.
Point of discrepancy there.
About?
The only place that you serve beer at room temperature is in England. And you don't drink beer in England, goddammit.
They don't know better.
Okay.
Actually, you know what? They claim they do know better. I've actually gotten into an argument with a friend over the pond on this one. Not our...
It's the Irish. It's the Irish.
No, the Irish like it cold. You go to an Irish pub that serves Guinness.
Okay.
And you say a pint of Irish, they'll pour you a Guinness that is 4 degrees.
Gotcha.
You go pint of English, they will give you Guinness at bathwater temperature.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Well, if you're going to drink your toast, I mean, you might as well just drink your toast. Whatever. I don't know. Anyway. So, excuse me. So with everything else, I guess I'll just get us all rocking and rolling over here and get started with the whole damn thing, because I've got stuff to talk about. So, start everything off as usual with your 5 minutes on the clock. I love this part. Your 5-minute freestyle starts right now. Investment. I keep talking about education is an investment. And I'm not going to be talking about education on this one, because that's its own thing. I've talked about that ad nauseum. The guys will tell you, well, those of you that have known me long enough will know full well, that is my pet peeve, like crazy, like you wouldn't believe. But in this case, when I say investment, it's not just that. I mean on a much more personal level. There is a lack of investment in certain situations where people really need to really hunker down, actually kind of dig their claws into stuff. And the idea that I'm using a metaphor that furries would use is not lost on me, because it just popped into my head. Things happen that way. But if you want to be someone that can be trusted, if you want to be somebody that can be persuasive, if you want to be somebody that can be charismatic, even just to a certain degree, and no, I'm not talking Jim Jones levels, you need to be invested. You need to be able to say, look, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tell you whatever it is that you're going to say. And you don't have to be the most passionate speaker in the world. You don't have to be the guy who is telling everybody you need to go ahead and buy my buckets of food because there will be a coming apocalypse. No, man, no. All you need to do is to invest a little bit of yourself. And if you're arguing for anything, and I don't mean necessarily the stuff that we're going to be talking about later tonight, you need to be able to say, look, this is what I am arguing for. I believe in this. I wouldn't argue this point otherwise. Now, I know there are going to be people who say, well, you do a debate course, you're supposed to know both sides, be able to argue either side. Yeah. And that's fine. You need to be able to make the argument from either side if you're going to understand someone. If you want to convince them that you know what you're talking about. No, you don't need to bamboozle people, but you need to learn. You need to understand. You need to find out, how do you communicate? The investment in this case is learning how to talk to whoever it is that you want to talk to. One of the things I've been dealing with, and this is going to kind of blend into the show, I have found kind of my niche. Asking these people, if you want to convince me, speak my language. Learn my language so that you can speak to me on my level. And I want to tell these people, look, if you wanted to talk to somebody in Italian, would you learn Italian? At least enough to get by? That's going to take some time. That's an investment in time that you have to learn something. Are you going to use a translation tool? Well, it's not that great, but, you can kind of get by. You're going to lose nuance, but it's not as good as having the actual knowledge of how to speak the language, but okay, whatever. But if you're going to learn, if you're going to grow, you need to invest the time to know how to grow, how to be persuasive, how to learn. And I said I wasn't going to be talking about education in this case, and I really don't want to talk about education because it's not about the 3 R's. It's about investing enough in those that you want to connect with. Even if it's not arguing. even if it's the people who every once in a while just need somebody to sit with them when they're having a bad day. Investment covers a lot of different things. And I'm thinking very specifically about a buddy of mine up in Toronto. Sometimes you don't have to invest time to say, I agree with you. I feel you. Sometimes it's enough to just sit with someone and just be there. That really doesn't cost a lot. And it can make all the difference in the world. This is episode, where is my title? 289 on the docket, Your Honor. Talk the talk, damn it. Now, like I said, I have been dealing with some folks on Twitter. It has not gone well, and I've alluded to part of it in my opening tonight. So, yay, joy. And I know full well that we are collectively not the same level of bulldog that Heretic Woman was, but damn it, I really hear her voice in my head sometimes, basically cursing me out and telling me, what the hell are you doing, wasting all your time when you need to be saying blah. It's like, it's not my way. Not yet. Anyway, so we're going to deal with part of that and deal with part of, like I was saying, people need to learn how to speak our language if they want to convince us of whatever the hell it is that they're trying to convince us of. Unfortunately, I didn't have any luck finding any news on Rafe Badawi this week, as usual. So, as of the recording of tonight's show, it has now been 7 years, 5 months, 25 days since Rafe Badawi was unjustly incarcerated for thought crime. Our hopes and our thoughts are still with you and your family. We're still waiting and we're still hoping. So, okay, wait a minute. Why do I see the Easter Bunny and Lobo in the same sentence? What the hell? Dalan, would you kindly explain yourself? Dalan, are you there? Bridget, are you there?
Yeah, I was muted.
Yes, I was getting worried there a second.
It's all right.
Yeah, I was muted too. Sorry about that.
Yes.
Okay, so as I was saying, if you let me get an word on edgewise, I will gladly tell you.
Well, I would do that, but, you know, when you're muted...
We did. It doesn't do much good.
Details. Anyways.
Details. See,
so,
even Stephanie saw that you were muted, so, you know, how did you... Whatever. You know what? Go on.
Well, we were muted out of respect for your 5 minutes.
I appreciate that.
Which we usually do. Anyways.
Bubble.
So there was talk of your hat bringing up sort of comparisons to Santa and the Mafia. Okay. And that reminded me of a comic book that I saw many, many years ago, starring DC's answer to Deadpool, or a gentleman by the name of Lobo, who, if you've watched the series Krypton and think that is the best portrayal of the so-called main man, please go stick your head in a wood chipper. Please.
The only one that I'm really familiar with enough is the one that they used for Death Battle.
Which is probably better because, like I said, the one they did the one they did for the show for the TV series Krypton, I'm sorry, it just the wrong actor. That's all I'll say.
Okay.
Anyways, Lobo is a very he does have a lot of sort of one-off comics that are just bizarre as hell. One of which was he was contracted by the Easter Bunny, because he is a bounty hunter, to take out Santa Claus at the North Pole. And it turns out that the North Pole is not all candy canes, gingerbread, and hot chocolate. It is, in fact, a gigantic dictatorial military industrial complex where, for one day out of the year, Santa shows his generosity by giving toys to all the girls and boys who are good, and that excuses him from the international community for all the bad deeds he does for the other 364 days of the year.
So this basically explains why Weird Al has given us the Rudolph song.
Kind of, sort of.
Okay, I got you.
So, yeah. So, as I said, there was a comic that was done. And then if you go on YouTube and look up the Lobo Paramilitary Christmas Special, you will see a fan-made video of Lobo doing what was done in the comics. So that's where it came from. And I have to admit, it was a fun little comic. I wish I still had it.
Now I'm trying to remember. Who the hell was it on Marvel's side? The motorcyclist from hell,
The Ghost Rider?
Ghost Rider. That's what it was. I'm just making a note for myself to get the link in the death battle so people can have fun.
Yeah,
with
he's one of the Ghost Rider is one of my favorite characters in the Marvel universe.
Yeah, I'm not going to spoil it for anybody that wants to go see it. I will, however, say that it doesn't end well.
Yeah. I mean, you've got the Devil's Bounty Hunter against the devil of all bounty hunters. So really,
who wins? We do. The audience.
Yeah.
We win. As opposed to Deadpool versus Pinkie Pie, where the audience loses. I'm not going to spoil that one either.
You know, the first, to be honest, the first death battle I ever saw was Starscream versus Rainbow Dash. And I laughed my ass off at that one.
And I'll just make sure that I've got those linked in for later too, because you guys don't like it, tough. You don't have to watch it. Just no fool, it's there. Anyway,
it's just a link. It doesn't mean you have to click it.
Exactly. So, like I was saying with the opening, talk the talk. I've unfortunately, for those of you that have been watching the HGTV Twitter account, yeah, I've gotten it into it with a couple of theist accounts. I've been genteel about it, and like I said, I know full well Heretic Woman would be screaming and yelling in my ear, "Why the hell are you being so nice? What the hell? What is your problem? Move on." Oh, God, fuck, I know. And I probably should have a couple of days ago. But I'm nice. I ask questions. And I finally settled on, if you want to convince us that your God proposition is real, A, you need to know the basic terminology and what it means and what it doesn't mean, and you need to talk in our language, the language of the scientific investigators. Which was great, because there was one guy who went ahead and used the whole thing about man as a fallen creation, and I got to pull out my Adam and Eve story, which sets the whole damn thing on its head. Oh, right. So for those of you that don't know about this one, really quickly, Adam and Eve are created. God says, there's the tree of fruit of the knowledge of good and evil. You don't know about good and evil. Don't eat that. Serpent comes along and says, "Hey, come here a minute. He doesn't want you to eat it. You should go ahead and eat it." Well, I don't know. What should I do? You should go ahead and eat it. But he said don't. And that's the moment that Eve became the first research scientist and ate and learned about good and evil. So she became the first moralist. And her moral choice was to disobey God and share knowledge with the only other sentient in existence, pissing off the big man. And
Well, he was
yes,
a typical bad parent, because if you tell somebody to do something or not do something, you should be able to say why.
Yep. One would
Instead
expect.
of respect my authority.
Yeah, the answer should be something other than because I said so.
Yeah.
It's like, don't stick your finger in that light socket. Why? Well, here's a demonstration, and that's when you take the hot dog and put it to the light socket, and it goes kablooey. That will be your finger. Okay,
finger.
good talk.
Finger.
You know?
Right. Okay. Yeah. Finger. Yeah.
Okay, look, if you've graduated to putting that in a light socket, I'm sorry, there is no hope for you whatsoever.
Hold on a second, though. My wife, when she was a very, very little one, was able to put a fork into a light socket and fortunately survived, obviously. But yeah, you don't want to do that.
No, you
more than
don't.
once. But anyway,
Well,
little
yeah,
kids,
and
they
that's the other
bounce.
thing too. I've heard of that one too. Is like, well, don't you put those plug shields up everywhere? It's like, hey, look, the kid's gonna stick the screwdriver in there once, and they'll never do it again.
Yeah,
I've seen that kind of parenting too, and
yeah. Let's face it. My mom and dad-in-law's house, they still had push-button switches for the lights in some of the rooms. For those of you that don't know, that's old. That's like the aluminum wiring in the house is covered with fabric. Old. So keep that in mind. Anyway, so like I was saying, I tried to explain to these people, look, you want to convince me that you're right, telling me, okay, this is what's going to happen when you die, so follow us unless you get rejuvenated. Rejuvenated was the word that was used at one point, so that you're born again. And it's like, dude, you're threatening me. You're saying, follow me or die. Sorry, let me do this again. I'm sorry, Dalan. I'm just going to do this one just as once. Follow me or die. Or be rejuvenated like a Time Lord? What the hell are you even talking about? So, I ran around this thing many times. Not the least of which was the atheist worldview says, no, just no. There is no atheist worldview. There is no science worldview. You want to know what the science worldview is? Somebody says X happens because of Y. Well, does Y cause X to happen? Can Y cause X to happen? How does Y cause X to happen? Hey, guys, check my work. That's literally it.
If you really want to simplify things, something bothers me a bit about calling science, like it's something a distinct other than our being, because basically what it comes down to when you're teaching your kids what not to do and what to do, it's in the interest of their survival, and eventually you would like them to come to the understanding that, well, you'd like them to come to their own understanding of what's good and bad in the world. But while they're growing up, in the meantime, we have to bring to them what experience we have and what knowledge we have just to help them get through to that age. In science, basically, it's the same thing. It's just a record of what we know about the universe, what we know about our environment, and that's it.
I'm sorry.
I mean,
what you just said reminded me of Adam Savage. Remember, kids, the only difference between screwing around and science is writing stuff down.
No, but that's exactly it.
No, that is exactly it. That's right.
And the entire point of our, communication between people who have taken on the moral responsibility, actually who have taken on the responsibility of their own survival, people who have taken on the responsibility and the burden of deciding what's good and bad for themselves. I've lost myself there.
It happens.
But that's yeah, that's one thing. But religious people seem to insist on relying on the quote unquote advice of another human rather than take on the burden of that responsibility themselves. And that's their survival model. And that's why they're so reluctant to let go of it. Because if you don't know anything else, if you don't know how to judge the value of anything for yourself, you're going to be dependent on whoever's quote unquote trained you until then.
Yeah, it's funny you say it that way, because one of the exchanges we ended up having I had with one of these people, because several, was when I kept harping on, speak to me in the language that I would understand in order to convince me. One of these people went ahead and turned it around and said, well, what is it that I'm paraphrasing highly because I don't have it in front of me, was asking if I was trying to make them do that in order to convert me. And that was a big tell to me, where it's like, wait a minute. Are you thinking that if I get you to actually understand my language, why I look at the things the way that I do, why I understand them the way that I do, and what I understand about them, that just the act of learning about that, you're worried is going to convert you?
I can answer that in 3 words.
Oh, I can't wait to hear this.
Speaking in tongues.
No,
hold on. Before you pin me to the wall on this one.
No, I just
No,
didn't want
it's just I had this visual in my head. Just go ahead.
I just didn't want to bukkake my entire outfit with the drink I had in my mouth. You almost got me.
Yeah, but is not the act of speaking in tongues a way of combating the devil or trying to exorcise it because you're speaking the holy language of God or some crap like that?
It's just a display.
It's a display that shows that you have been chosen because you're special. You can speak the language of the Holy Spirit.
Right, but the idea is that if you speak in tongues to somebody, that they should realize that, or that the person who's being spoken to would then realize that, oh, I'm in the presence of one of the greatest, or one of the chosen, therefore I should, follow sycophantically. So with that mindset, them accusing you of trying to convert them by requesting that they speak in, sane terms, for lack of a better phrase,
reality based.
But they're thinking that, again, it's an incantation. By learning this language, they will convert. Well, yeah, kind of, because they'll suddenly realize just exactly what kind of a group of brain dead morons they really are. But
when you really, because I'm always going back to this terminology. I'm sorry, because I haven't found a better one. But when you're in a survive by imitation mindset, which means copying your survival, you think that your survival, or you feel your survival depends on your imitating your quote unquote peers, whoever's in your clan or whoever's trained you until then. You're going to be pretty loath to make the leap of actually considering the value of things for yourself. And the speaking in tongues thing, it's just a display of. It's funny because people who live by imitation, they try just as hard to be like everyone else as they try to seem superior. And that's kind of a means to both ends.
Well,
I'm obeying better than I'm imitating better than you are. It's basically what it comes down to.
Well, I think the whole thing with speaking the same language is that you have to be able to speak the same language in order to agree on definitions of terms.
But speaking in tongues is not that.
No.
Where I dragged that up was the idea of, words converting people, or, spells, incantations. That's the impression I got from what Shujin said, is that this person was scared that, you were going to give them the scientific equivalent of abracadabra or some crap.
But that's
Well,
it.
if their faith is that weak, though, then do they really have faith?
But if you rely on others for your survival, yeah, you, instead of testing things for yourself, yeah, you're gonna be influenceable. What's the word? Is that even English?
No, that's fine enough. Get some
Gullible?
Well, gullible. I mean,
no. Actually, Joseph, I think the word we're looking impressionable.
Impressionable.
That's the word we're looking for.
Yeah, that's a good one.
But when everything, it's really strange, because if you rely on other people's advice, quote unquote, to tell you what's good and bad, without judging the value of everything for yourself, reality suddenly becomes a concept. Everything is the same, whether it's real or not, because if it's, do you see where I'm coming from? Because if somebody else is telling you, don't stick the fork in the light socket, and then on the other hand, they're telling you about some invisible being watching over you, and you test neither one or the other for yourself, and you just obey. I mean, it's the same thing. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, mm-hmm. I got you. By the way, over in the chat, and forgive me if I've gotten the pronunciation incorrect. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I believe it's pronounced, and just going on my own, Amesian? Again, forgive me if I've got it incorrect, so please correct me. It's saying, for far too many, their survival did, or does, depend on mimicking that leader exactly. That is that is excellent, because that is the absolute basis that we end up seeing for things like megachurches.
But that's also, don't forget, that's why we humans evolved like this. It's just get through early childhood. It's a state. It's a state of dependence, actually.
Okay. To a certain degree, I agree with you. And
it's impossible for us to test everything for ourselves, to test every berry to see whether it's poisonous or not and all that. And that's how humanity's made it so far. I mean, by passing on of information, which in its base is scientific. But eventually, when we come to the age of reason, we're supposed to transition out of the state of dependence.
Well,
and if you want to get into it, to go into a bit of neuroscience around adolescence, the brain does go into a state of called pruning, where whether we want to or not, our brain reevaluates everything that we've learned early in life.
Funny enough, I was about to say that anybody that's had to tend to a 2 to 4 year old will tell you that, yeah, we are definitely testing the bounds and scientifically examining everything around us for quite a long time, much to the dismay of many a parental unit.
But now we're in a helicopter mom society, and we're pretty protected from reality.
In some cases,
stick to a set of rules, we're going to get by. We don't have to think for ourselves.
Well, we will have to see. And just joining us, and mentioned that he was getting a little bit on the late side, UnrenownedTech. Good morning. Glad you were able to make it, man. You've got a voice in there somewhere, I'm hoping. Maybe not. not, okay, we'll wait for him to show up at some point or other.
Yeah, I'm here.
Ah, there you are. Again.
Going on in? Okay.
Yep, close enough. Hi.
Yep. Sorry for being late, guys.
Yeah, you forgot to set your clock again, didn't you?
Yeah, I'm helping my SF prepare for a trip for family and a bunch of other things, and so
okay.
I've been very busy today.
Not a worry at all.
I looked down at my phone and I went, "Oh look, it's 12:30. Oh crap, it's 12:30."
And there you go. Name drop. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
I didn't name anybody.
Holy crap.
Okay, it went right over my head. That went over and around my head completely.
Yeah, I saw what you implied there.
I'm surprised it didn't go over mine.
I don't know how many jokes could go over that head.
We're speaking the same language today.
Dalan knows what I just did there.
I know exactly what you just did there, and I ain't saying a thing.
Nope. Anyway,
Okay,
so glad you're able to make it. All right, so.
Oh no, I get the joke now. I just said initially it went over and around my head.
I don't know that you do or you do.
Just
later.
move on. Move along. Nothing to see
Like
here. Keep going.
It was just like a bat, just like it did a couple circuits around the head before penetrating into your hair.
Anyway, moving right along from here.
Bats in my beard.
Anyway,
Picked the wrong day to quit drinking.
Speaking of which, yeah. By the way, Tech, Guldendrak from Belgium.
So very cool.
I'm trying that out. Oh yes, and as an update, people have noticed I've been steadily sipping. This is not one of those. Yeah, I'm not having another sip of this. So far, not bad. Not great because me and beer, but so far, not bad. I think it's a little bit strong from what I'm used to, but I'm still sipping, so that's something.
Yeah, red ales are actually they're surprisingly good. They're a little more full bodied than your typical brews, but not overbearingly so. At least has been my experience.
Is that one sweet?
Yeah, I used to be a Killian's man myself.
Rickard's red guy over here.
I was fan for a couple weeks of there was a Belgian beer called Ras Cochon.
Bless you.
Red pig?
No, Ras Cochon means basically rinse the pig.
Bless you.
Yeah, okay. That was close. I heard the pig in there, and I was like, rinse the pig.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shouldn't that be like the slogan for DC now?
We're a Belgian brewing company, and we hate our customers. Here, have our beer. It's called Rinse the Pig, you filthy varmints.
Yeah. That must be the last step of the brewing process.
Like,
Okay,
was
but
a really wacko name or rinsing the pig?
You know what?
Well, actually, I think it's going to be the first choice there, Bridget, because there's a beer brewed in Quebec. It's called Le Fin du Monde.
La fin du monde, yeah.
Le Fin du Monde. End of the world.
Fin.
Fin? All right.
Fin. End.
Damn it.
I'm thinking maybe the red color from Ras Cochon beer comes from all the lipstick they put on the pig.
There's about 50 political jokes in there somewhere.
Great. See, now Dalan reminded me of
There's an orange.
Drink of Republicans.
Yeah, and Dalan just reminded me of the end of the world video, which again, another item. I'm gonna link into the notes because that's the way my mind works.
Good God, even on Holy Crap, we get rule zeroed.
Well, kinda, because they're. To be fair.
Are we sufficiently derailed yet?
No. I still have much of a bottle yet, so no, we're not. To
Try
fair,
harder.
To be fair.
To be fair, the idea that we have various references that pop up. I like to put them in for everybody because A, you kind of get the jokes, and sometimes B, there's actually legit reasons. Now, the end of the world video that I'm thinking of is an old one that goes back to the old Newground days, back when it used to be, I don't know, popular. And it's the, I'm tired. Fine, take a nap. It's in 5 services. There are some people who already know which one I'm talking about at this point. But for those that don't, it's kind of funny, kind of sad. The way that things are these days, it's worth it. It's almost as good as watching Bugs Bunny saw Florida off the end of America and have it float away.
Can they do that with Alabama?
No.
Darn.
No, because there's nowhere for it to float away to. Right.
Yeah, basically you'd have to take Alabama, jack it up, put it on tracks, and then roll it to the coast.
We can do that.
No, because everybody's going to go ahead and just steal the bricks from underneath the wheel wells. I'm sorry.
Well, no, hold on. Like NASA's got those things that used to track the shuttles all the time. They should have 4 or 5 of those things kicking around.
The crawler? Do you know how many gallons of gasoline it takes to go 1 mile with that thing?
Do you know how slow that thing goes?
Yes.
All right, look, give the design to Elon Musk and he'll come up with some Hyperloop solar-powered freaking roadway Tesla version of it.
Okay, let's not even
solar
I just
power.
want to say that thing moves faster than a neuron in Trump's brain.
I was going to say that thing moves faster than Congress, at least.
Okay, there's reasons for that right now, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
Okay, so back on it all. Let me see over here what it was that was being said. Amicia N. See, I'll do it that way. Was talking back and forth with Stephanie. Stephanie saying, I think adolescence is a little too advanced for some religions. Childhood is closer, with a nice comforting parent to make all the decisions. I can't disagree with that, because you're kind of laying out how people are supposed to act and unfortunately think.
Exactly it.
Yeah.
I think that's it, because adolescence is usually when you start getting rebellious and getting some ideas of your own.
Yeah.
Before your parents crush your any sense of free will or any sense. No, I don't want to use that term. Any sense of independence.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
except most parents aren't usually killing their kids for that. Oh, wait, never mind.
most are not.
Yeah. Pushing them out of the nest if you don't obey us to the letter exactly.
That's
Well, okay, you know what? If
to death, actually,
pushing somebody out of the nest for not obeying,
that's a problem.
sometimes can be the best thing that'll happen to that person, because they're no longer under the influence of that person. And okay, when you're shifted that violently from survive by imitation to
you're on your own.
And
I'm going to go back to I'm gonna cue my catchphrase, which was the Australian walkabout. I think that nothing embodies that more perfectly.
Okay, so you've got that one. You've also got the what the hell is it? The Amish have got
Rumspringa.
Rumspringa. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then on the complete opposite end of all that shit, you've got Disfellowship. The complete diametric opposite end of that spectrum.
Excommunication.
Disfellowship.
Disfellowship is best as compared to shunning a person.
Yeah.
Or you can just do like the Mormons do and drive the males that won't comply off the reservation.
Well,
and if you've made it past that point, in life where you should be responsible for your own survival, and you have never developed that ability, that can be pretty close to condemnation.
Well, you see,
Well, especially if you're like 14 or 15 years old and they just dump your ass somewhere.
Well, that's just that's why
like
it's so cool.
yeah,
I
and
mean,
that
the
was
world-
one thing.
That's
Sorry.
the world. The world's a scary place for
No
somebody
shit.
who has to,
Mm-hmm.
because normally, even during this period where we should learn to think for ourselves, even that needs to be developed. It's not something that just comes automatically or for free. And we should do this also under the tutel of our parents or under the protection of our parents. But being thrown into life before you're ready for it, that
Yeah.
can end badly.
You see, that's the thing where the whole survive by imitation. Like I've been pondering that phrase for a while now.
Oh, thank you.
Well, and
And
the
I
reason
hope you come up with a better phrase.
no. I think, okay, so taking religion and taking everything out of it, surviving by imitation to start with is kind of what you have to do, because you really don't know anything. So you do have to look to somebody to understand how to work in certain ways in the world. I mean,
It's
a perfect example. Well, yeah, a perfect example. My niece, when she was little, my brother was over visiting one day, and he hurt his finger, and a certain expletive, shall we say, escaped his lips.
Shit.
Well, okay. Anyways, well, needless to say, my niece, who was about a year and a half old at the time, picked up on that word.
Well, I'm specifically thinking of little tiny
And when
Stark.
when somebody told her that it was bad, it became even more interesting.
It did. Right up until the hand met the butt, and then that kind of ended that pretty quickly.
Well,
But
yeah.
but to my point is that learning by imitation is fine until, and even learning, if a parent could teach you a life skill, like how to cook or how to clean something, how to do laundry, you learn by imitating. And, especially when it comes to something like cooking, you're kind of imitating what your parent is teaching you, so that it's a life skill. Now, eventually, when you do end up going out on your own, which inevitably you should do, doesn't necessarily happen that often these days, you're going to initially still be surviving based on the imitation that you learned.
But
It takes a long time to eventually shape that into something that is you.
You have to take that base lesson, and what's often missing from that lesson is the point of doing all this. Okay, we clean up the kitchen. Why? So it should be easy to explain that. Well, next time we want to cook something, we won't have to clean up before we start, or just like something as simple as that.
Yeah, this is.
But it's really understanding. That I can speak personally, but when I was given these obey or else, that's the kind of environment I grew up in. The point of it all was missing, and I spent my early childhood in total confusion because I saw my parents were pretty unhappy, and every time I would ask, okay, why do you want me to do that? Basically, they would say many things, but basically the underlying message was, so you can grow up to be exactly like us.
Okay.
And my response to that was, no fucking way.
Yeah.
Okay, so
grow up to be miserable and unhappy? Yeah, I don't think so, Tim.
Yeah, but I didn't have any other options, which, because I was too young. and I had to find out for myself a lot of things, so the reason why and why we don't do things, and yeah, that ended up affecting me.
Yeah, Stephanie had something in the chat. By the way, Beth, hi, good to see you, hon.
Hi.
They were Beth and Stephanie were kind of catching up as far as to where we were at this point for Beth, and Stephanie had something that was interesting, and this kind of links into what you guys were just talking about. Stephanie said, "We're just getting into religion infantilizing people." I sincerely hope I pronounced that correctly.
Infantilizing.
Infantilizing. Okay. The alcohol content on this is noticeable
Higher
right
than
now.
you're used to. Yeah.
A little bit. So I'm going easy. Actually, come to think of it, what is it on this? Hold on a second. Oh yeah, it is 10.5% by volume. Yeah,
Wow.
that is a little bit higher than I'm used to. Okay.
It's not quite fundamental, but we're almost there.
Yeah. Okay, so keeping my head clear enough at this point, because I don't want to end up like bad host. What that said, and what you guys were talking about, kind of comes back to something that kind of triggered an expression that I had in my head, which that I've used before, which is, you were taught wrong. Yes, we need to collectively be the stewards of new lives to teach them what to do, what not to do. But with that should also come the responsibility of making sure that the new lives understand the why of it, so that when they come up to a situation that they don't have a parental unit there with them, they can make the determination for themselves to reason out why something is, why something isn't, what should I do, what shouldn't I do, what are the possible ramifications. I don't know all the answers. Let me extrapolate for myself and think for myself and figure it out.
But that's exactly, if I can add.
No, go right ahead.
Because that's it, the reason part of it, because what happens to a child if they're stuck in survive by imitation mode of their parents?
That's easy. They join up with Jim Jones and they have a drink.
No, but what happens if they come across a situation that's outside of anything that's been taught to them before? That's where you get the fear reaction.
Oh, good point. Because anything that is unknown is automatically a threat.
That's exactly it. Because when you're stuck in a survive by imitation mode, good is paramount to same. And bad is just anything outside of that. Because if you don't know how to judge the value of anything for yourself, you don't know what's good or bad. You only have your survival model or whatever you're imitating to compare to.
Amicia. Oh my God. Brigid.
Mm-hmm.
Amicias. Or you find yourself in therapy in your 40s, unable to answer the question, who are you, with anything other than your name and the role you fill. Hi, my name is Brigid. I'm X years old, and I'm a womb for my husband.
Yep. Been there, done that. Nothing that 30 years of therapy can't fix.
No, I
You're
know.
fucked up for life.
Yeah, no, that's exactly the reason why I wanted. I may be having a little bit of lubrication in the brain right about now, but I ain't stupid. I know all too well that, that's. I mean, really, shit. What was the group again? Seventh Day Adventists?
What, that I was in?
Yeah.
Oh no, Church of Christ.
Church of Christ. Sorry, forget. Was it the Seventh Days that had the whole quiver movement?
No, Quiverful is just evangelical. There are some Catholics, there are some Church of Christ, there's some Baptist, Southern Baptist.
Great.
They're a mixed bag of nuts.
Yeah, it's an evangelical movement.
Yeah. Or is it a bag of mixed nuts?
It
I
even
don't know, but it's nutty. It's nuttier than squirrel poo.
The cogs of the machine.
You
What?
know what?
Hey,
I don't think I've ever heard that one before.
No.
I missed that. What?
It's nuttier than squirrel poo.
Okay.
Let it go. Just
you can also, hey, there is also things like that are outside of religion. Case in point.
Well,
Hi,
wait
my
a
name's
minute.
Unrenowned. Hi, my name's UnrenownedTech, and according to the U.S. court system, for 18 some odd years, starting close to 14 years ago, I'm an ATM.
Yeah.
Oh,
There is that.
Well, all right. Wait a minute. Hold it. That may be, Joseph. Don't lose that thought that you've got over there. I'm going to come back to you in just a second, but I want to make sure that we understand that is what Tech was just describing was how an outsider viewed you as in an outside organization versus how you would describe yourself and believe it. I want to make sure that we're clear about that. Because
It's somebody deciding for him what he is, basically.
But he doesn't see himself that way.
He does not believe that.
Exactly. So
And thinks that that's the way that things should be.
Actually, you know what? Wait a second. I'm sorry. I've done a very, very large disservice. Tech, do you see yourself that way?
No, I do not.
Okay, good. Whew. Oh man, I almost made a huge faux pas right there. Fuck.
what?
Okay.
What's your pin code?
See, the thing
No.
about being a walking womb is that you buy into it for yourself because that's what you have been told.
And
And
And so you go along with it.
But you brought
Right,
up a really, Bridget. You brought up a really great thing. What you said earlier said if you, or was it Shujin? I forget.
Doesn't matter.
But
Go with it.
you said if you don't know who you are because you rely on somebody else to tell you for
Yes.
you.
Yes.
Unfortunately, and especially as far as the government is concerned, it's molded around that. I mean, the voice of authority. We tell you how it is, and this is what you're going to do because we are deciding what's best for you.
I got
Instead of, it should be the other way around. We should be deciding what the government should be legislating. But anyways,
yeah. There's that. By the way, everybody help me out on this one because Stephanie said, "To be fair."
To be fair.
To be fair.
Joseph, anytime. You can say it in French if you like. Okay, whatever.
what? Okay, whoosh.
To be fair.
Oh, how would I translate that into?
I don't know. I don't speak. I barely speak English as it is. Don't start with me right now. It's got everything to do with the alcohol right now. Okay. Anyway.
Autrement dit, pour être... no. I can't find a French equivalent.
That's too long. Don't worry about it. Just shut up.
Pour être juste... Pour vrai dire is what they would say.
Okay.
To state reality.
Okay. Well, Stephanie had said, to be fair, it was not actually Kool-Aid. True. Now, there's actually a reason why I wanted to hook onto that for a second.
Kool-Aid's for kids.
It's also for people that want to go ahead and jump on the spaceship that's going to go to Schumacher Levy 7. No, whatever the hell it was. Anyway,
Yeah, those guys.
Yeah.
That's
That's
whole
where
other
they're
thing.
telling you it's going.
Right. Okay. So the reason why I wanted to hook on that for a second is that the story has been believed because it was believable. And I want to use that for a second. We've believed it's been Kool-Aid because it's easily understood by everyone. It is a culturally known commodity. Versus...
It was Conspiracy by Tang.
Wait a second. What's the Kool-Aid in this?
Okay, look, all right, let me...
about religion? Or?
Okay, backing up just a second. Sort of. I'm kind of looking to use an analogy. With Jim Jones and his folks who went ahead and committed suicide by drinking flavored water, sugar powder flavored water. Let's go that generically.
Oh yeah.
Okay. The running belief, erroneous that it might be, is that it was brand name Kool-Aid.
I think it was actually Weiler's.
But the thing of it is,
We all know what that means.
right. The important part of it is the lie is believed because it is more culturally known.
I don't know what you mean by that. Culturally known.
People understand what drinking the Kool-Aid means.
Right.
Are you talking about the expression itself?
Yes.
Okay, I get you. Sorry.
Okay. Even though the reality is they didn't drink Kool-Aid. For whatever reason, the name got associated with it because it was a more well-known item.
I was asking you to elaborate on because Kool-Aid represents something like a message, and I was wondering what the base message was. If you were talking from a religious viewpoint, or are you talking from a...
Okay, so there's all right, shit. There's a lot to unpack in this one. I'm gonna do it as quick as I can because we've only got another hour to kill. Okay, so quick as I can inside that hour. Okay, the idea of drink the Kool-Aid. The overall explanation is that Jim Jones got a whole bunch of people to follow him because he commanded the presence as an evangelical preacher, a very charismatic person.
I understand the expression,
No.
but the Kool-Aid in every case, it represents something.
No, I don't. Hold on.
First use the term.
He's getting to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to make sure that I've got it out there. So he eventually got all of his followers, I forget however many people it was, in Jonestown, no less, not to be confused with Otisburg. There's a handful of people who get that reference. Congratulations. To literally drink poisoned water with a flavoring added to it. Whatever the powdered food coloring, sugar, water, flavoring stuff was, it doesn't matter. But he convinced all of his people to drink this drink and thereby commit mass suicide. Whatever the actual used item was, Kool-Aid, the brand named drink flavoring by name Kool-Aid, which is a trademark brand name, is the one that was much better known at the time. So the idea of combining what happened at Jonestown with all of these people being duped into drinking poison and linking it to a known commodity, specifically brand name, Kool-Aid, has basically created the equivalent of, well, let's call it what it is, a historical meme, kind of the same way that you had, Remember the Maine or Remember the Alamo. Wow, shit, we got a lot of stuff in the U.S. history that's memeified that's got to do with death and dying and war.
Yeah.
Wow, imagine that.
While you were talking there...
Sorry.
While you were talking there, Shujin, I did a little snooping. I threw a link in our Discord there. November 18th, 1978, a total of 918 people died at Jonestown.
The thing that was so amazing about that one was there were long lines of people that were drinking this, and even as people were falling and dying, people were still lined up drinking it.
Yeah, and it was just because he was that charismatic, and people just
relied on him for their...
There is a power...
we say salutation.
There's a power of persuasion.
Hold on a second. Tech, go ahead, because you were having a hard time getting in there.
There is a power of belief. that can override all instinct, all logic and reasoning, everything that you know, everything that you understand, everything that you've been taught. Belief can be utilized as a weapon of a surgical strike or massive destruction with complete disregard for splash damage, if you will, collateral damage.
Especially in
When
absence
people
of
ask me why I don't believe in something, especially something that they haven't convinced me of, is because you're asking me to believe in something that has a series of rules that force me to live my life according to somebody else or something else that may or may not truly have my well-being at stake or in mind. And you can't prove it exists in a way that I believe that is enough true evidence, if you will, empirical evidence, to demonstrate whether or not I want to believe it truly exists. And B, I have seen what the believers do in the name of your belief. Regardless of what's written down, I have seen what the people who believe in those writings do. And while, yes, some of them are very nice people, very good-natured, very caring, very loving, a large majority of them do very horrible things on a varied scale, mind you, but they do horrible things in the name of your belief.
Yeah, hold that thought a second. Because I'm sorry, Joseph, yes, quickly.
Oh yeah, just consider that conversation, because when somebody's trying to indoctrinate you or trying to quote unquote convert you, they're actually trying to convince you to give up your self-governance. And this conversation is from a position of non-reason, or the inability to reason, or the unwillingness to reason. We can't ever say why or how this happened. To you, who has the ability to reason. So basically, what they want you to do is give up your self-governance and obey them. You see what I'm saying? Because because your point of view is one thing, because you have the ability to, and the will, and you've taken the responsibility of reasoning for yourself. And these people are coming at you from a position that's completely absent of all that. Not only are they not willing to consider the evidence, they may be unable to, or just too scared to.
And you've got a very good point to that. I want to add to that, however, that and kind of sideline with the whole "you were taught wrong" part, that I can very easily believe that there are the vast majority of those that are trying to make converts who, well, like Joseph was saying, that, they want you to give up your autonomy, for lack of a better way of putting it. I'm kind of truncating it a little bit. Forgive me.
Just to interject, you were taught wrong. I think it would be good to say, these people weren't taught wrong. They weren't taught at all. They were told.
No. You're quite correct, and that's kind of what I'm going into.
Okay, sorry.
That they were taught wrong. They were not taught how to reason why something is or isn't good, bad, why something is or isn't extant. Is that the right word for something that is or isn't? That is the right word, isn't it? Extant?
Extant is based on something that exists.
Okay, yeah, so I did get... Wow, shit. All right, I get the right one. but they don't themselves realize, I don't think, and I might be extrapolating quite a bit, I really don't think that the majority of them see it as they are trying to get people to give up their autonomy. Given that you've got people like the Mormons who will go door to door or in public and ask to speak with you, I don't think that they are asking people to give up their autonomy, but that's built into the, if you now follow us, you will be, but we didn't really realize that because we weren't taught that part. We weren't allowed to learn that part.
That's also what I mean by this. You have to look at this through the perspective, the unwillingness to reason, because if you rely on another human for survival, your entire survival depends on imitating that other human. You're not going to have any thoughts about
or group.
Or yeah, but that's exactly it.
No, I wanted to make sure that I put that there because there are a number of groups that have that same thing. For instance, following an individual, I can easily see that for the groups where you've got. Let me finish. All right, Jim Jones being one of them. Following the various evangelicals, for instance, following Matt Fierstein, for instance. I don't know if he's still a thing or not. I don't care. He's still a rat bastard. Following the Crypt Keeper. Dalan, come on, man. No comment.
It's the same pattern everywhere.
Yes.
But if I can come back to what Tech was saying.
Hold on one more second.
These people, when they're giving you
just one more second.
Okay, I'm sorry.
The reason why I was also saying for groups is that you've also got much looser groups that don't rely on a singular person that you're following, generally speaking, at the local level. For instance, synagogues doesn't happen quite as often with the Jewish community, but kind of does, especially with the Hasidics. But Catholics, especially, they will follow indirectly the Pope through whoever is the local bishop and then priest at their local congregations. So they're not following the individual per se, although they're supposed to be, but they follow the group itself.
Or other. It's still other. It's not self-governance.
Correct. It was just I wanted to see how people would understand that there are different groups where their graduation is different as far as to where they see their ultimate point person is.
But I just wanted to close on one thing that Tech said earlier about the motivations of people trying to indoctrinate you or trying to make you give up self-governance, obey them, copy them, whatever, follow their leader, follow them.
You do that while I try to get this cork back in the bottle.
Oh, you're gonna have a.
I'm literally trying to get the cork back in this goddamn bottle.
Yeah, good luck. So I can talk for a while. No, but what Tech said earlier, when you're stuck in survive by imitation mode, and your only survival model is somebody else's quote unquote advice or guidance or whatever, these people could be the best intentions. They may have they may be actually worried about you. They may have your quote unquote survival or salvation or whatever they call it, truly at heart. But the only thing they know how to do is to, impose their model on you. That's the only choice they have. And if you or anything you're doing is outside of that model, they're going to see you as being quote unquote in danger. So they can be the kindest people in the world with the best intentions. Have you got that cork yet?
No. And you know what? Fuck you for asking at this point. I give up. I don't believe it's because of the alcohol in me. I truly believe it's that I just can't get the stupid thing back in there.
I have a mission.
I can't help you out on that. Although I did figure out that, by the way, that the logo of the dragon on it is actually impressed into the cork. So that was actually pretty cool of them. And it's actual cork, which is I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing these days. I don't think it comes from Cork, England, so you guys are off the hook. You're welcome. No, there actually is a town called Cork in England.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. Anyway. I'm still trying to wait and see what Beth has to explain, because she mentioned the poop lady.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Gillian Epperly.
Huh?
Yeah.
This,
Billy Goose.
yeah, this is the one that I brought up a long time ago.
Wait, okay, wait a minute.
She's crazy.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
Wait a minute. I remember about Jilly Juice. I remember this.
Yes.
I remember the name from that being that she's kind of theremin levels of weird.
She's a special kind of crazy.
Yeah. What's this about? Poop?
Okay. I'll take this one. Okay, so Jilly Juice is supposedly a miracle cure-all. It apparently will cure cancer. It will cure. It allegedly will regrow limbs, from what I'm told, regrow organs that you've had removed. You know, if that's the case, I wonder if they could do something about my spleen. But anyways,
Bridget, correct me if I'm wrong. As far as to curing cancer in the laboratory, last I remembered, a 357 Magnum at 1 meter will kill cancer in the laboratory 100% of the time, right?
It can kill some of it, but you're still going to have like isolated little cells that are going to live.
You know what? Fuck off too. Fine.
Because splatter, splatter is a thing.
Yeah, you know what? Fine. I'll use an 88 Magnum and I'll just do it from across the street. Continue. There's some people get that reference. Thank you. You're my people. All right, down going on. So
I'm gonna need the heavy bolter for this heresy.
Yeah,
Anyways,
so poop.
But it can cure the person because the person would be like dead.
Yeah.
So they won't be suffering from cancer anymore.
Anyways,
I need to learn how to mute my microphone at this point.
so Jilly Juice is a type of, I think it's fermented cabbage water with salt water or something like that. It's basically almost some people say it's a form of I think it's kimchi. I think is what they call it.
What it sounds like.
Yeah, I know, and I don't know the entire recipe, but anyways, the thing is, the stuff has such a high salt content, and as some of you might know, drinking salt water straight is
pretty deadly.
Well, not only that, but it also makes for one hell of a laxative.
Yeah, that too. But it can also cause, cardiac arrhythmia and all sorts of
other. Because you got that delicate sodium potassium balance in your body, and hey, a couple of quarts of salt water, you're boned.
Hold that thought. Tech.
I was going to say, as somebody who went on a fast but did so with electrolytes and got his initial numbers wrong for his mix. I thought I was drinking seawater, and then I double checked and realized, crap, I'm drinking seawater. So there was a day I spent in the bathroom because of that.
Yeah. Anyways,
see, this is why krill is not a good substitute for food.
Yeah. So what Jillian referred to that is that when your body's in the middle of this cleansing, it's doing what's called a waterfall, which is basically
you're shitting your brains out.
Well, projectile vomiting out your ass.
Yeah.
And she has actually been indirectly responsible for the deaths of two people so far. Because they bought into the whole, one guy, he actually did have cancer, and he, in his, the way they spun it was, well, he had nothing to lose, so why not try it? Now, this individual ended up on Dr. Phil.
Eh?
And the YouTuber that exposed her, Jeff Holiday, also wound up on Dr. Phil. I've mentioned Jeff a couple of times. He started off as kind of like, a shit poster, anti whatever, all that stuff, but he is now a hardcore debunker of pseudoscience, especially when it comes to this kind of this particular brand of bullshit. Jillian is like his punching bag in terms of this stuff. He goes after her at a moment's notice every time she pops up, and she is getting stranger and stranger as she goes along. But amazingly enough, there are people who follow her, and because she says a couple of key words, candida for one. Bridget, this might be more in your wheelhouse.
Well, that's yeast.
Yeah, but it's also, you see, they also say it's some kind of fungus or something like that, and it could kill you.
Well,
So,
if
yes.
you're immunocompromised, yeah.
yeah, so Jilly Juice apparently gets rid of this candida. It fights that. But then she just goes off on these like insane rants about big pharma and where is it? Yeah, Beth even said that she also denies all science that says salt is bad. Well,
Too much of it is very bad. A
Well,
little of it
all
is
right,
good.
all right. Hold on a second.
Too
Salt
much of anything is bad.
Yes, it's all about the dosage.
Yeah.
Swallowing.
Yeah, 100%. Yes.
Oh, dude,
It's all about the solution.
if you're swallowing 100% sulfur, you've got bigger problems than you know what to do with right about then.
Yeah, and it's like that other cure out there, that miracle
Sulfur,
uh,
sodium. Shit. Sorry, I
not
screwed it
sulfur.
up. Sodium.
Well, if you're swallowing sulfur, you got a problem too.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Probably with your sinuses first, because you don't notice that you're drinking sulfur.
well, hey, you know what? Between Jilly Juice and bleach enemas, I am amazed. I'm amazed America still has the next generation to look forward to.
Are we promoting
America's
goop
not the
here?
only one drinking that crap.
Yeah, I know. But
Well, Joseph, I'm sorry. What was that?
Oh, I said, are we promoting goop?
No. Although the idea of painting. Okay, this is not the alcohol talking. The idea of painting one's sphincter with bleach in order to keep it very clean of any pathogens, so that you can cover it with warm chocolate and make an impression of your.
no, come on.
It is the holiday season, and people are going to be buying those from Amazon. You know that.
In all honesty, I wonder if the whole bleach enema thing came from the fact that some idiot saw, hey, look, people are bleaching their asshole. Let's just
Take it one step further.
Let's go one step further. Let's bleach it from the inside and see what happens.
Well,
Ooh, I
and
can
have
sell
you?
this.
Yeah, and have you seen the latest trend involving the butthole?
Suntanning it.
Oh,
Yes!
where you get
What?
suntan.
Yes.
Hey, at least it's safer than bleach.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna rein this
Sure.
one in. No, I'm reining this one in.
Good. I got another one on top of that. Go ahead. Wait for it.
Now, the article that I read about this talks about that you expose your bunghole to the sun for 30 seconds at a time.
Okay.
Now, you absolutely know that somebody is going to get into that hole. Well, the more the merrier.
And give themselves
Wait.
a sunburn on their butthole.
Wait for
I
it.
suddenly feel sorry for everybody who works in ERs and triage over the next little while, because, well, okay, anybody that's got any stock in like aloe vera, they're about to be very, very rich.
Nope. I can top that one. Try to imagine having to go into a specialist, an oncologist, and explain that you have sarcoma on your skin. And they say, well, you came in for a consult, but they didn't explain exactly where it was. Congratulations, you've now messed up some really poor oncologist's day right there. So congratulations.
And while you're at it, can you get rid of that eel I put up there to cure my constipation? I think I've been doing a little too much Facebook lately.
I think you've been
This
looking
is,
through. I think you've been looking
There's a
through
reason
German
why I got
websites
off
again.
Facebook.
You know, I'm suddenly starting to wonder, and I should actually ask my sister if she got that book from my mom's place. You remember those doctors' books of home remedies?
No,
I have one by Jack Kevorkian.
I don't think that was a very good.
Yeah, I don't think that was exactly a bestseller. No, there used to be a commercial years ago. You know, how to use oatmeal to treat a bee sting. Have a colicky baby? Run the vacuum. And it was some Bob Saget looking goofball. You know, before we found out that Bob Saget is actually one of the most foul-mouthed comics in the history of America.
He's Canadian too, isn't he?
I have no idea and really don't care. Anyways,
I'm gonna look it up.
Anyways, but it was one of these. It was a hardcover book, and I think my mom actually bought it. And it was these. Yeah, TDTF knows about it. His grandma had them. They were called the Doctor's Book of Home Remedies, and it was a bunch of these. I guess today we'd call them life hacks. You know, things around the house to help with things like a sunburn or a bee sting, or, you know, if you're not feeling good, try this. And just when Joseph said about the eel, I thought, I wonder if that's in the appendix of one of these books. You know, having trouble constipation? Try a live eel. You know,
An electric one.
No.
Okay,
Ooh,
now look,
I'll
no. Look, to be fair, I will never kink shame anybody. You know, you do you. I will not judge.
Well, that's some. Okay, go on.
But a pepper pot does not belong up the butthole.
Okay. Two things. One, apparently Bob
Why
Saget's
does
from.
Iron Man come to mind?
Wait, what? Why does what come to mind?
Iron Man. What was Iron Man's girlfriend?
Pepper Potts.
Oh,
Okay, so Bob
And
Saget.
The actress?
Bob Saget is apparently from Philadelphia. So, way to go, Philadelphia.
yeah. Anyways,
Okay, and the idea of using an electric eel is all well and good until you realize that electricity makes muscles tighten. I really don't want to be on the receiving end of a constricting colon. I'll just kind of leave it there because we need to move on from there. We need to move on from there. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah. Hi. By the way, this whole thing about taint sunning, there's a follow up that's going on around now where poor Ra is just holding his coffee in his hands and seeing all these people showing up their taint to his son, and he's poor lamenting to himself, they used to build statues to me.
Well, how do you know this is a bad thing? How do you know the sun god Ra isn't into anal?
Because he's not Bast. Duh.
what does being a cat have to do with that? Never mind. I get it.
Ladies and gentlemen, mwah, good night, everybody.
Jesus.
You're welcome.
How should we do
You brought this one on yourself, Sugar Lips.
you know,
Nobody told you to do it.
But it's people like Epperly and Comfort and
P-Robes.
P-Robes and oh god, who's the other one?
Benny Hinn.
No, well, yeah, him too. And Jim Baker and
The charismatic people.
yeah, the cults of personality. Who
that's a big net right there, though.
Because
Yeah.
we tend to put all the onus on them, but it's actually us who enables them.
yes,
They wouldn't be that way if the basic human condition wasn't
You know
And
what?
this, and this is where I think, because there's a lot of talk these days about shutting these people down, refusing to give them a platform, or if they do get a platform, getting completely up in their face like a rabid dog would to get them to shut up. And Joseph, you just hit something, because it's not them. Remember, these are the people that used to stand on the soapbox in the middle of the street or with the sandwich boards saying that the end was nigh. And we'd look at them and go, you're a special kind of stupid, aren't you? They were the village idiots. Yeah, they were the village idiots. The trouble nowadays is that people are starting to listen to the village idiots. And that is where, and it comes around. You've got the, like you said, survival by imitation, a lack of proper practical education.
But be careful there, because it's not that these people were the village idiots, because it sounds there like you're saying that they're becoming more the majority, or the people are becoming more a majority. The only thing that's changed from times before is that these guys now have a platform. They've got a fucking megaphone.
Okay, hold that thought.
Yes.
Hold on. Because there's a piece of this that I think is really, really super important for this part. Once upon a time ago, my wife got a dubiously questionable legal job at one of these multi-level marketing groups. Didn't really realize exactly what it was when she started, but she was kind of fresh out of college. The idea is, and I'll show you where this all comes together. You are given a list of 100 phone numbers. Sorry, you're given a list of phones to call. You are expected to get 100 people to speak with. Of those 100, you should get approximately 15 people to come into the place for the meeting, for the presentation of the thing, in order to make your sales pitch. From that, you should get at least one sale from those people. Where this comes into play with all of this other stuff, with the religious side, is because, like Dalan said, they've got a platform now. The platform is the entirety of electronic media that can go out to thousands upon millions of people simultaneously. From that vast number, you need a relatively small percentage of people who are willing to invest some extra time with you. And from that, a smaller percentage of people who are willing to give to you, especially money. And of that group, there will be some who will be incredibly invested and give a lot. And that's the pyramid. That's the scheme. That's what ends up happening at this point, where these groups will just put out a vast net. And online at this point, it's virtually free. I mean, shit, we do this basically for free. You put out the word, and you make that word get out there, and it's charismatic enough that people will say to those other people who are similarly inclined, come watch too. And you will get more people who are invested, who want to spend more time, and some who want to help you and give you some money. And if it's virtually free, the amount of money that you're getting in suddenly starts accumulating. People see you, hold on, people see you accumulating more money. A lot of times that is perceived as you are doing good things. You must be important. There should be more given to you. Some will give more. More groups in those circles will give because they think that you are more important, because money begets money. and influence begets influence.
Two
It's-
things.
It's the same thing with the charismatic people. The influence begets influence with the younger that you can get. Joseph.
Yeah. Well, two things, because in a survive by imitation world, if you can get, like, going back to what you were saying, or to add to what you were saying, if you can get into the mind of one of the clan, chances are you're going to get the rest of the clan too.
Exactly right. And by the way, that's pretty much what Amisian just said. You have money, you must be doing something right. Ties right into what you were just saying. Go ahead, too.
And it's not only charisma, because it's more insidious than that, because I get phone calls from people pretending to know everything about my health record and my mutual. I don't know if that exist in English. Mutual. It's a type of insurance.
Mhm.
A little more than it's like here in France is Medicare, and then there's something you can a collective insurance. You could well, it's actually kind of like single payer. But anyways, so people pretending to know about my health record, and they're speaking with a voice of authority. And what's scary about this is that they wouldn't do that if it didn't work.
Yep.
So there's a good part of the population that are open to giving credence or giving credence to any voice of authority.
Yep. And by the way, also, going on with that and agreeing with you, TTTF had just said, it's also why cults kick out any dissent. People that stir up the pot and say, hey, question everything that's going on, they are shunned. They're on the outside very quickly because they're screwing with everybody else's mojo.
Yeah, you're fucking up the machine, basically.
Yep.
But okay, I'm gonna go to a place which is it's gonna sound kind of strange at first.
Go for it, man.
But if you strip all the God and everything out of religion and all the promises or whatever, well, no, keep the promises as the promises themselves.
Okay.
But if you strip all that out of religion, and going full Godwin here, if you strip all the Nazism out of Nazism, all the swastikas and all that, you're at the core, you've essentially got the same thing. You've got a few dictating to the many how they will or will not live and think. You've got, because Hitler's camps were filled with nonconformists, people who thought for themselves, who were different. Anybody who went outside of this dictate, the central dictate of what you will and will not do.
Whoever wasn't on board got separated.
And in religion, you have excommunication and all sorts of other threats. And whether it's hard or soft, whether it's physical threat or it's funny, I'm waving my hands a lot when I'm talking. But whether it's a physical threat or metaphysical, or whatever you want, supernatural threat, it all comes down to the same thing. It's a basic state of credulence and a dependence, a lack of self-governance, and that is just an open door to others dictating to us what we can and can't do. And the people doing the dictating, well, their entire position of power depends on our credulence. So anything outside of that is just out. Bad.
Yeah,
was that clear there? Yeah.
No, I got you. With the couple of minutes that we got left, though, I want to pose something out that kind of hooks to that and to the whole thing in general, and kind of take it from the opposite side of it all. There are those groups that would like to dictate compliance at the end of the stick. I guess might be the best way of putting it. Whether, like Joseph had said, the metaphysical stick of, you will die and you will burn, or you will die and you will be eradicated, or you will not live for whatever. But then you've got a different contingent, and I'm not picking I'm not picking political or ideological sides on this one. I'm not naming names because that part doesn't matter. You've also got those who would not dictate compliance. Those who would teach. I'm trying to figure out how to word this correctly. How to teach best practices. I think.
Isn't that still dictate?
Well, hold on, because I'm not sure that I'm screwed. All right, screwed. Trying to get it out in the short way. Where I'm trying to go with is there are those that would say you will do this or you will be punished, whatever the punishment might be. Like I said, at the end of whatever stick, versus those who would say we want you to understand why things work, so that you can make a better determination later as new information comes out, as you explore the unknown. You may not know it's coming, but you will be able to reason it out for yourself.
And here's another angle. With the same message with every lesson you give, say as well, give it with an expectation. Well, just basically say, test me. Test what I'm saying. Test it for yourself. Try me. If you're telling somebody I'm not being clear. But if you're giving a lesson, or if you're giving advice or anything like that, give it with the expectation. Well, you have to get the message across. There's a huge difference between telling somebody what to do with an or else message and telling somebody else what to do with try it for yourself. Test it for yourself. Try me. If you find something better, see what I'm saying?
I a few weeks ago, I think I alluded to something like this. Pardon me for getting a little archetypal here. To teach is to build a person's foundation, to give them, for lack of a better term, order in their life. Now, I don't mean order in the dictatorial sense. I mean a sense of stability, of understanding the world as it is, so that if they have a question about something that's commonplace, they'll know how to get an answer for it.
Forgive me, analogous to the old education starts off with the reading, writing, arithmetic baseline to learn the rest of everything else that you need to know after.
Yeah. If we're breaking it down Barney style, that's about it. Yeah.
Okay. Just want to make sure I've got you right. Okay.
But now, life. Wow, I'm actually getting into Taoism here. So, okay, the Zen symbol, the yin and the yang.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. The key behind that symbol is not the fact that you got a little bit of one inside of the other, but it's the border between the two, the winding path between the two of them. That's the way. That's the path.
That's moral.
But hold on. You keep 1 foot in order. So you keep 1 foot on that foundation of yours, that stability of your life, so that when you take the step into chaos, into the uncertainty, when you ask the question or you experiment, you do the test, as Joseph said, if you fail, at least you can go back to where you were. You still have something to go back to reevaluate and try again. And if you try again, ask that question, you get a new answer. You've now built a new foundation for yourself. You've achieved a different state of order until you're ready to go leap forth again. That's how you learn. That's how you grow. You start with a foundation of order. You take your first step into chaos. And if you are able to get a foothold in that and get stable in that new chaotic surrounding, eventually you'll build a new order for yourself.
You've just described science as well.
Exa-freaking-exactly!
And funny enough, you just gave me a piece for my closing.
So you've got sort of a scientific method that I just sort of haphazardly explained using frickin' Taoism.
Yeah, but it all comes down to the same thing. In our conversations or in the common discourse or whatever is out there in the media, we tend to complicate things because we're speaking about the same basic things, just using a different terminology. And because we use a different terminology, we make two topics of it. But at the base, often you'll find it's essentially the same thing at the root.
Mm-hmm. And that dovetails in perfectly, because learn to speak my language. Okay, if you're going to be a militant dick about it, okay, fine. But what if you could actually sit down with somebody and say, okay, look, I speak this way, you speak this way. Do we have a commonality that maybe we could can we develop an exchange by seeing if we actually have common roots?
And behind the terminology, you have to basically the goal of that conversation, the designation of terms, is to dig down to what you're actually talking about.
Oh, let me tell you, with one of these guys, I had to go around so many damn fucking times. Yes, I said the F word this time. Shut up. To say atheism is not a religion. Atheism is not a worldview. Atheism has nothing to do with morals. These people just don't understand even the basics of these languages, which drives me up a freaking wall.
And even that, atheism is, sorry to say, but it's a theist concept. I mean, most atheists, in my experience, are just people who have learned to forego the dictate of religion and who have taken the responsibility of thinking for themselves, and that's it. So you could be called whatever anybody can call you whatever they want to from their point of view, but you're still doing the same thing.
Yeah, just wish these people actually knew what the hell they were talking about half the time. Seeing as how we're getting, we got to see about wrapping up, and I want to wrap up a little bit earlier for personal reasons. Tech, was there anything that you wanted to finish off with? I know that Dalan and Joe and I have been taking a lot more of the time.
Yeah, there is something. Yeah, a lot of people are going to use their own labels regardless of what it is that you do. But we have to pay attention to that too, because depending on the labels that are used, they can become very harmful, hurtful things in terms of governing other people's perceptions about us. An example of this being when people were polled, there was a survey that was out asking the question of trusting your child between an atheist, a convicted child predator, and a couple other things. The child predator wasn't very high up the list, as you might gather, but in terms of trusting them alone with your child. But what was underneath that, and by the way, the lower on the rung, the worse score was, less likely to be trusted, was atheist. Somebody of no religion. And that means that there are more people willing to trust their child with a convicted child predator than they are with somebody who identifies as atheist. and that's because people's beliefs are warped by, and thoughts are warped by other people's labels. I have literally heard, wait, you're an atheist? But you're so nice.
Mm-hmm.
If
So,
AI,
yeah, it might be great that you're thinking for yourself and everything else, but we definitely need to pay attention to the labels that are growing around and how other people identify and understand what they understand those labels to be.
I'm really sorry for monopolizing today, but just to add to that point, one thing that really scares me is that I've been I work a bit in AI research, but if that has taught me anything, it's just how fucking programmable we are in the early stages of our life, in the state of credulence or the state of dependence, whatever. And to add to what you were saying, somebody who is unwilling or unable to make value judgments for themselves, who depend on their pastor or preacher to decide for them what's good and bad. If they're told that atheist bad, they're just gonna, it's all the same to them, because maybe they've never met a child molester, they've never met anyways, they're not making that judgment for themselves, they're letting somebody else do it for them. So yeah, labels stick.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I was just typing into our thing to remind you of the old adage, bring me the child.
That's the mob mentality, but that's scary.
Yeah, what I was saying was that I was about to type into the group chat for you the adage, bring me the child, I will bring you the man.
Yeah. And there's somebody here, I think it was the abbot, I forget, Sujo, I think he said, yeah, teaching a child is like engraving stone, which means, yeah, that's badly translated. Basically says if you have the kid, it's whatever you engrave into it, it's going to be there for life.
Yeah. Really quickly, Dalan, I'm trying to remember. You've I'm pretty sure that you would have dealt with the term before. Blanca Rosa. I'm trying to remember what the old expression was for a blank slate.
Tabula rasa.
Tabula rasa. That's the one. So yeah, kids as that. That's a scary, freaky thought.
But tabula rasa means to clean the slate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. But that's the thing, is that children do not arrive, or they are not born pre-programmed with higher thinking. They are instinct. They know that they need to eat, and they quickly learn that by making a particular sound, they get attention. Eventually, they learn by imitation that other sounds will cause different reactions. It becomes cause and effect. But their brains are not, they first they need to grasp communication, or they need to understand communication, then language,
then calculus.
Well, but the thing is, it's a process, and a lot of people these days, I don't think they fully grasp the fact that, or they're scared to death of the responsibility of that. If you have a child, okay, you are now that you are the teacher. You are now responsible for that person's life. Thankfully, even if you screw up a few times, there's always a chance to make it up. I mean, you do have, there's a little bit of leeway. You mess up once or twice.
We're hardly faced with tigers anymore.
Well, yeah.
So
But-
we've got a lot of leeway.
Yeah.
A lot more
But-
we did.
Yeah, but the point is, like, if you maybe you react badly to a certain behavior, you snap, you yell, and maybe for a few months, maybe there's a bit of fear between the two of you, on the part of them being scared of doing anything for incurring that wrath. But it eventually comes around. I mean, my oldest brother, being the first kid, that was not easy for him. But I'll tell you, at the end of it all, we were a family. We got through it, and everything turned out okay. And I just think that for people just have to realize that, yeah, it's that child is your responsibility. And if you don't know something, you ask. You get the help you need, either from peers, but don't. If I was lucky enough to have had a kid when, there was a miscarriage, but if we'd had that child, we probably would have ended up divorced, because I would have never let that kid go to church. Have you guys ever met some of these, like, hardcore evangelical type people?
I won't get
Like-
into specifics, but I know personally, and
Sad.
it's part
Yeah.
of, because imagine yourself in that parenting role. You have the responsibility of a child.
Mhm.
But you yourself, as far as survival is concerned, you don't know to do anything else than what your model tells you. Because if you don't have self-governance, if you don't think for yourself, and you rely on the dictate of somebody else, or the whatever you want to call it, advice for somebody else, if you want your child to survive, you will have no other choice, whether consciously or subconsciously, than to make your child a carbon copy clone of yourself. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah. And
To
you know
follow-
what?
To follow the
For-
same people you do, basically.
Yeah. And you know what? For the first few years, to impart that, you know what? This is what got me through. So let me show you that. But, and this is the hardest thing to instill in a child is, I've given you the foundation. I've imparted to you as much of my own life experience to help answer these basic questions. But one day, you're going to step out on your own, and you're going to have some new questions. Draw from my experience, please, but spice it with a little bit of what you're going to experience, so that you become yourself. And this is where I say, survival by imitation in the early stages is almost necessary for survival. But encouraging the next generation to take that next step that we can't, or we haven't had the opportunity to, like science, you stand on the shoulders of giants.
Just make it clear that this is what I have done until now. It's worked for me, so try it for yourself if you want to.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Instead of saying it worked for me, so that's all it's going to do for you, it should be this worked for me. Let this be something you can use, but test it, try it.
Yeah.
And if you find something that suits you better, yeah.
Like the message through religion and a lot of media is, this is the way, and it's not to be questioned.
We know the way.
Yeah,
really
To
didn't
the
want
Kool-Aid.
it. I could have gone.
Yes, I went there. Deal with it.
Yeah, well, I know what the answer is going to be anyway, but just to be complete, Bridget, nothing else that you wanted to add at this point, you said, right?
No.
Okay. I will do this one real quick. If people want to branch out, if they want to learn, if they want to grow their circles of people that they can influence, you need to step outside of that on your own. Like Dalan was saying, you need to keep your foot inside of whatever it is that you started with, and then, wiggle your toes into the aether of whatever it is that you're looking to understand, to pull it into, your wheelhouse. And believe it or not, I actually came up with a something or other that was not directly said on Star Trek The Next Generation, but I'm pulling from it from the first season of it, which was bad. The first season was really bad.
It was.
Yeah. The episode in question was The Naked Now. It was a callback to an original series episode, but the long and short of it was they had to deal with a ship, the SS Tsiolkovsky. If it sounds like I'm speaking with a little bit of a lisp, I do have a little bit, but no, I pronounced it correctly. Tsiolkovsky. The dedication plaque, in particular, is what I'm going to quote from. It wasn't spoken outright, but it was photographed, and the fandoms found out about it through various magazines at the time. Yes, I followed a lot of this stuff back in the day, because, it was 1987. What are you going to do? You're a college student. What are you going to do? The dedication plaque says at the bottom of it, and it is credited to Tsiolkovsky, "The earth is the cradle of the mind, but one cannot remain in the cradle forever. Sooner or later, you have to branch out. Sooner or later, you must branch out, because sooner or later, everything else will come to you, whether you like it or not. And you've got your choice. You can either look at it and examine it and learn, or you can see the brand new scary and run from it or attack it and see it as a complete threat. We're not going to tell you which one anything is supposed to be, because that's not our job. Our job here is just to help you try to understand that you got people you can learn from. And hopefully you do. And if you do, that means that we've done our job well. So with that, it's time to close up shop. As always, everybody, thank you very much for being with us. Hope that you had yourselves an enjoyable evening and found something worthwhile in all of our perspectives on all this stuff. As always, all of you guys... I'm sorry, TDTF over in the live chat. Lol, nerd, he said while wearing a wizard's hat. Yep. Yeah, do you have a gazebo in your backyard? Is it on fire? Yeah. Let me thank everybody for being with us tonight. So, as always, in this case, excuse me, Joseph, thank you, of course, as always, very much. I hope that you have yourself a good morning and stay warm. Good luck with projects and personal stuff going on, by the way.
Oh, geez. Yeah, this is going to be a week.
And hopefully the protest didn't interrupt your work.
Well, thank goodness most of my work is from here. But, and the strikes haven't affected me much either. It's all, the metro is pretty well shut down. Yeah. So I'm waiting for a lot of good news this week.
Well, best of luck. You know what? Hey, rent a horse What are they going to do? They got to stop a horse. No, you just jump over him. It's all good.
Okay.
I don't trust him with a horse. He says while trying to figure... Off the air. I'll explain
Not
it off
wearing
the air.
that
Okay. I'll explain it off the air. Maybe those of you that stick around for the chat afterwards, maybe I'll type it over there. I don't know. We'll figure.
Does that have anything to do with police academy?
No,
Okay.
I don't think. Probably not. UnrenownedTech, glad you're able to make it, man. You take care of yourself. Have a wonderful sleep this morning.
Yeah, no kidding.
And seriously, good luck with it all, man.
Yep, thank you. You have a good day.
You too. Bridget, you take care of yourself. Try to stay warm out there, because it's almost that time.
I will try to. They're calling for like rain snow mix off and on, like next week, several
Yay.
days. Yeah, it's always fun. And anyway, if you want to send me a friend request on Facebook, it's Bridget Fitch. You can find me on our blog, bridgetfitch2112.wordpress.com, or stop by and visit me on Monday night at 8:30 Central, 9:30 Eastern, or beyond the trailer park. And Beth and Morgan and I, and probably Samantha, if the 12-hour shifts are not killing her, are going to be talking about the age of the Bible, and don't refer to it as a 2,000-year-old book, because that's not really accurate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Spoilers.
It's different.
It's different.
The butler did it. And great, now I've got Tim Curry in my head. That's just
Tim Curry is the bomb. I love Tim Curry.
oh man. By the way, last weekend was the first time that Tiny Tribble has seen Clue, the movie.
Really?
So I kind of explained about the thing, because the middle school, I think, had done the Clue Junior play, and they kind of went through one of the endings. Spoilers, by the way, for those of you that haven't seen Clue on video, on DVD, there's more than one ending. Stay to the end. Trust me, it's worth it. Especially for the line, "What do you do?" "I buttle, sir." Brilliant line. I love that line. But that's earlier in the movie. Anyway, you have yourself a good time, and good luck with the show.
Yeah, thanks.
And Dalan, one of these days, I'm actually going to remind myself, oh yeah, I actually have to look up for towns for you to mock you with. Yeah, that's not happening yet. Screw me, man.
The sad thing is I could probably find a bunch of town names for you to mock me with, but I ain't going to make it that easy.
Dude, you could get out a pair of binoculars and probably see a couple of town names from where you are.
Oh boy, I do have one for you, but again, that's going to be my little secret for the next little while.
Wonderful. Thank you for your time tonight.
Yeah, no worries. Of course, I am the curator of the audio version of this show over at holycrapthevlogcast.com, which is now up to date with the exception of tonight's episode. So, give me till tomorrow at least. And for any other random thoughts or streams of consciousness when I actually feel like typing, you can catch me over at inthewind.yo5.ca.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Of course, we will be here to entertain you next week. Why didn't I do that when I had the opportunity before? There we go. That's better. Yeah, organizing all the video feeds, it's a little weird for me. Don't mind me. Hi. We'll be looking forward to seeing you guys, of course, next week. If you want to be subscribed to the podcast or get all of our social media links, like you were saying, holycrapthevlogcast.com's got everything that you need over there. And, of course, if you'd like to leave a voicemail message, 859-HCTV-554, 859-4288-554, and, of course, patreon.com/HCTV. because I was lucky enough to get that one. Not that I ever think about it. It's just one of those things. We will be looking forward to seeing you guys, of course, next week and through the next couple of weeks. We know full well that with the holiday season, things get a little odd. More than anything else. Please be safe, especially with the weather, especially with travel, especially if you have to go shopping for anything, including going over to the grocery store. Park far away. Don't park near people. Walk an extra 30 seconds. Unless it's minus 40, in which case you're on your own. But be that as it may. We'll be looking forward to seeing you guys next time, of course, as always. And until that point, happy holidays. And we'll see you soon. So until then, as always, I wish you all the peace I no longer have. I wish you the strength that I've learned. I wish you well. And of course, my lady, tune in many years later. I'm still in love. Matane Fujin. I love you. I miss you. Dream of me. Till the next time we get together, everyone, as always, good night.